Hey guys. Hey Crystal. Hey Melanie. How are you? Guys, if you're new here, please don't forget to share out the live and double tap on the screen so my live could be seen by more people. Thank you. Um, I'm waiting for the person who's supposed to be joining. How are you doing, Crystal? Yeah, we're just waiting for that person to come on. Hey Brian. Hey guys. Hey Viana. Yeah, you can ask questions. I might be getting joined by somebody else, but you can ask questions. If you have a question, go ahead and you can answer it. Also, guys, if you're new here, don't forget to share and double tap at the live so that the live can be seen by more people. Please and thank you. That is a good sign. I wouldn't pay too much close attention to it, but it means you're on the right track. If you want to be like me, if you want to be like me, I usually use the 3D as a, I guess you could say I use the 3D as the signs that I see. I use it as a way to remember to affirm. So like I'll be like, if I see like my SP's name, I'll be like, oh, like for whatever I'm focusing, I'll be like, oh, he loves his new like iPhone, or he loves his new he loves FaceTiming me or whatever. So I usually do that. But if you're seeing his name literally everywhere, then that means it's done. Like, just say thank you. It's done. Guess you could say it is the first live of the new year. It's definitely the first live of the new year. But I don't pay too much of close attention. Yeah, then that's a good thing. Just stay persisting. Keep persisting and you'll get what you want. Just keep going. You're welcome. Hey, Mandy. I honestly wasn't going to come on live. I was supposed to have a guest, but I don't know where she's at. Oh, never mind. Here she goes. Hey. Guys, don't forget to keep double tapping on the screen and sharing out the live. How are you, Mandy? Hey, Rosella.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
I can
Let's
hear
put this
you.
on. Okay.
Can't really see you, but I can hear you.
Enhance, save. Hi, how are you? Can you hear me?
You can hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Thank you.
Yeah, this is on. Can you hear me? I'm sorry.
Yep,
This
I
is a
can hear
very
you.
interesting phenomenon right now. You can hear me?
Yep.
No, not unavailable. Yeah. Okay, so it's an interesting subject. It's an interesting subject that you've brought up because this is something I've been dealing with forever. So yeah.
I kind of saw
Can
that
you hear
video.
me?
I could hear you. Can you
You
not hear me?
froze. Looked like you froze there.
Can you guys hear me?
You can't hear me, hey? Can you hear me
I
now?
can hear you, but I think your signal on your side it says it's like one bar. Guys,
Okay,
can
let's
you
see. Is it
hear us?
better now? No, not better. Yeah, let me know if you can hear. Let me know. Let me know.
I can
Let
hear
me
you.
know. Oh, you can? It's better?
Yeah.
Or is it not better?
No, I can hear you. I can hear you just fine.
It's okay. Perfect. So maybe I just need to move a little bit. So yeah, how are you? Yeah, it was apologies. I was actually trying to go on the live and see if we could kind of connect together uh through that process, but obviously it didn't work. So now we're
Uh,
here.
but
So
yeah,
yeah, what came
I think the
So
video
what was your
was my whole spiel and why I
video?
was inspired to do that video in the first place.
Yeah, no, I think it's a brilliant, I think it's a brilliant discussion because it's a good time to talk about it and it's something that people need to, like, look, when I grew up in the 80s and the 70s, because I'm older, we didn't have accessibility for things to happen at a fast pace that we have now. So before we had to multitask. We had no option. We didn't have things that people have now. So I think technically speaking in our generation it was a norm to be multi-diverse and multifaceted when it came down to life experiences and lifestyle adaptabilities. So I think it just depends on I think it depends on experiences. Let's put it that way. It's an experience kind of scenario. I'm 45. I'm not a spring chicken. So is it low? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
It sounds like it's glitching. I'm gonna move to the room. Hold on a second. Here, moving around. Let's see if this makes a difference in the room. It alternates. Sometimes it's okay, other times it's not okay. Let me sit over here. Bring this up. Better? Not better. Yeah, it does look like it's a little low, hey?
Lost the back market.
Okay. I don't know why the quality is bad. Can you hear me? Okay, let's do this again. Let me take this out and put this. Can you hear me better now? Is that better?
No, that's better.
Okay, so I'll leave this off then. Let's see if that makes a difference. Okay, there you go. The volume on your side is a little low. Would you mind lifting it up a little bit?
I can't fix it.
There you go. I can hear you. So it
It's not.
basically
It's just my phone.
gotcha.
My volume tends to go in and out because I'm
Okay,
on
that
my
explains.
other phone.
Okay.
So the other phone I have is a little outdated,
No,
and
you're good. You're
I
good.
don't.
You're absolutely good.
Yeah.
But it's such a pleasure to meet you. This is so wonderful to meet somebody else who has a similar perspective. And I'm glad you're actually speaking up and talking about it because I really do think that this is one of those subjects that, there are people like myself because I'm multifaceted. I do fashion, I do music production, I do photography, I do art, I do graphic design, you name it. Like I do everything. But I think when it comes down to being multifaceted, I even do photography because that's also what I studied. So I do that, all sorts of like everything, like video editing. And I think to be capable of not asking people for help becomes a master's skill because you don't have to ask people. You already have those skills to be able to do it for yourself. So having multi-dimensional levels in your capacity and your lifestyle becomes an absolute fantastic skill to have in the first place. So that's, yeah, and you're right. When it comes down to schools and stuff, I don't think people emphasize it enough. They always say focus on one aspect. And I've lived in 5 different countries, and my experience living in 5 different countries, my mom's South African. She's mixed South African. So my experience coming from different countries and different cultural backgrounds also identifies the question of what people's experiences are, and how one grows up makes you who you are as well, which is another thing. So it all falls into place. Like if I were to go back to South Africa, people would require me, they would think that I have to go back to fashion because that's what they knew me as. Well, and music. But I come back to the States and everybody wants the music. So it's a very tricky kind of balance, if you know what I mean. Moving around does become an interesting element to that question on multifaceted, which is what you were obviously discussing and bringing up. So on your side, how did you come to this conclusion? Are you personally experiencing this in your life? Are you doing this through business? What's your perspective on this?
I experience it on multiple different levels, and sometimes people be like, you really have to niche down. Like brands will say that I need to niche down. Like two people was like, you're not gonna grow if you like you're not gonna grow if you don't have a niche. And I'm like, but I've never had a niche, and I'm not about to start now.
Yes, yes.
Like it doesn't make sense. Like there are people, you can't sit here being like, okay, that you can't sit here saying to people that they can't grow because of the fact that they don't focus on you know one thing. They're like, oh, that's a manifestation in and of itself because you're distracted. It's like it's all over the place and it's good for the algorithm. It's like, but there are so many multi-passionate people who are successful on
Well,
social media
oh, that's
that
interesting.
it just doesn't make sense. And it's like when you have multiple passions and then you hear somebody say, oh, niche down, it's like it's like you're feeling it's like a punch to the gut because you're like,
No, no, no.
niche, I don't know what that is.
This is what it is. You just need to identify how people are saying it because maybe they don't understand. Maybe it's something they have not experienced. Maybe that is why they're saying it because they want you to be more like them, which is, I hate to say it, but that's a matter of education, right? Like you need to be educated to understand that the levels become something more than just what it is. You can't just say, I'm just doing modeling because like, what else are you going to do? When you get older, what happens? I did modeling when I was younger, but I didn't stop and say, I'm going to be a model for the rest of my life because you get older. Like as you get older, you have to think about other things as well, you know? Like it's just a part of growth. It's a part of development. One, and my dad, I don't know if I can bring this up. My dad was part of the embassy, and that's one of the reasons why we also traveled to 5 different countries. So when one experiences different countries as well, you start seeing cultures, and when you start seeing cultures, your mind starts to open a little bit more. You become more aware of things. So I personally think when I did my master's, that was done in South Africa. When I did my master's in South Africa, the awareness of not just South Africa, but all of Africa became the subject. It wasn't just one aspect of the continent, because South Africa is just parts. That's a country. The continent of Africa is a continent. So you have to, it's like one has to kind of break it apart and then put it back together again, in that element. So yeah. Oh, may I ask what kind of things what you do? What are the facets that you have that you're molding together? I don't know if anybody's asked you that. Has anybody asked you that? Because I want to ask you that.
Honestly, nobody has ever asked me that.
Well, there you go.
So that's actually a first. I that's a really good question. You have me having to like draw out of me to explain that because nobody really has ever said that.
Well, that's
So I am a bit see, this is like the damn.
Well, you have to remember, I did my master's in South Africa. My mom is mixed South African. The subject that I chose was mixed identity. And when I did my exhibition, I didn't just bring in painting, I brought in multiple facets to explain identity and genetics through visuals. So, yes, I do understand. 100%. And I know that there are people that do not ask these questions, which is why, as a master's graduate, I should ask these questions because I feel as if it's part of what I studied to become conscious about the things that people are not conscious enough about. I know because people from my master's degree, they were like, "What are you doing?" I was like, you're like the professors. You should know what I'm doing. I shouldn't even be asking you this question. You shouldn't be asking me this. You should assess it in your mind. What do you think I am doing? That's why I'm putting it out to the forefront to give you guys something to think about. So and your answer is, we are still waiting. Drum roll, please.
I am the base of everything that I do is obviously my modeling because that's a way for me to express myself. And then as I got more in depth with where I was going and getting tired of waiting on other people, I decided to create a fashion blog and learn how to style. After I learned how to style and creating the fashion blog, and the fashion blog is Styling with Sheila J, which I still do use, I got tired of waiting on photographers.
Photography as well. There you go.
So I started getting into photography and learning how to, shoot. I would go, "Hey Joe," I would go to photo shoots with the photographers, and like if there was another model there while I was waiting to be shot, I would go and like look over their I would literally go look over their shoulders to look at the settings that they were using. In my free time when I wasn't doing my modeling photo shoots, I'd go on YouTube, look how to watching Jessica Kovesi or whoever I felt like watching, learning how to edit using Photoshop and Lightroom. So then I started learning how to do making Lightroom presets, and I found I started like doing all these like different things, and I created like different blogs. I also have a blog called Frugal and Pretty, which is my blog that's about how to save money and couponing and making money. I have another blog called RenaissanceWoman.biz. That is my teaching platform where I'm teaching you how to save, how to start a blog, how to invest your money and stuff like that. And then I have there's like my Shop Vibrantly Bold business, which is like the business that I have where I create like cute t-shirt designs with like inspirational quotes or funny quotes or empowering quotes. It just varies depending on, the mood, and also some funny stuff and sarcastic and bold stuff. Then I decided in 2020 that I was going to get into manifesting, hence the queen of manifesting. My life was not the greatest. I was going through some traumatic experiences, and I was going through a really bad breakup at the time. And so I discovered the law of assumption. which is how I tied in and how I created this TikTok. I created the TikTok and my YouTube channel to share my journey and show people that, hey, if I can transform my life and my trauma, then you can do it too. So I started documenting my journey, giving the tips, giving what I learned, and stuff like that, and just using it as a space of empowerment and a safe space, because this is what I wish I had when I first started, because it really wasn't having a safe space. So I found a law of assumption in 2020, started doing that, started working on my self-concept. And then in 2021, I decided that I wanted to go back to school. So I went back to school. I went back to school in 2021, and I found the school that I graduated from back in May, and the school, you can literally say I manifested the school, because it was what the school had to offer that made it was like, oh, okay, no, this is made for me, because I had tried to go back to school several times and it never worked out every time. This is the first time where I actually committed to actually finishing school. And the degree that I graduated from was a holistic psychology with a specialization in expressive arts therapy and a double minor in cognitive neuroscience and photography. And I am in a master's degree program in mindfulness.
Fabulous.
And I'm planning on eventually getting a PhD in clinical neuroscience and consciousness.
Okay, well, that's interesting. Well, congratulations. See, so all of these things actually followed suit to what you are finally doing right now. And that is part of the process. It's a journey. It's definitely a journey through life. And when you go through that journey, you experience different things at different times, right? It's like everything. And then over time, you bring those concepts together and it starts falling into place. So you're your own business person, which is exactly what it should be, right? You shouldn't be, I think a lot of people, maybe they still haven't gotten to that stage of understanding what the process is the goal. When you go through the process, you begin to not just understand yourself, but you begin to develop a bigger picture, which is exactly what you have done. So it started off with modeling, then you switched over to a number of things like starting your own blogs and vlogs about fashion, and then photography. Do you use your phone? Do you use a manual? Do you use a digital? I studied photography too, but we studied with manuals. We actually had dark rooms and film, like real film. Like we actually developed film back in the 90s.
I actually started with digital.
Okay.
I used a Canon 80D. I really, really, really want a Sony camera though. Like I really want one of those. But so funny story, when I decided to get the minor in photography, the director of the program wanted me to basically be a part, like she wanted me to switch my major. And I was like, I'm not switching. I'll get a master's degree in fine art photography, but for right now, where I'm at in my life, I am not switching to photography from my major, because I don't want to be in school any longer than what I have. And I was taking 5 classes a semester and traveling back and forth between New York and Massachusetts. So I was like, I can't add any more workload on me. So the first semester, when I had to start doing my in-person classes, because for the first year my classes were all online, so I didn't have to go to Massachusetts. So while this is happening, I'm having issues with my landlord. That's why I had to keep going back and forth between Massachusetts. So me being me, I'm obviously manifesting my way through school. I'm manifesting my way in these, and out of these situations that I'm in. And the first day of school, I learned that intro to photography is intro to photography. However, I thought that intro to photography, I was going to, use a digital camera.
No, of course they don't. I studied fine arts at the Corcoran, so you know Tim Gunn. You know Tim Gunn, right? Okay, so I went to the same university as Tim Gunn did in DC. So that was my education. And then Jeff Koons was my graduation, like he gave me my certificate. He's like, "Here you go." I was like, "Yeah, I graduated. Sweet." So yes, no, of course, if you're going to do intro to photography, you start from ground zero. You learn how to use that film and to roll it and take it out and go into the black. Oh yeah.
I did not.
That's part of the process.
I did not know that. I was like, wait, we're doing what? I don't have this on camera. Like, what? I literally almost dropped out of the class because I was like, I'm not doing this. I can't
No,
do
no,
this.
you have to
Like,
learn the process.
and I was
It's
like,
Vince
damn.
Carroll, right?
And I was like, damn, I really don't want to do this, but okay, I'm gonna stick it out. And all throughout the semester, the teacher kept on saying, trust the process. And like when she first said it on the first day of class, when she was like, yeah, you just have to trust the process. I'm looking at her like sideways because I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I barely trust the process in my own life. And you want me to trust the process with this? You want me to take, a roll of film and roll it up on the damn reel and then like put it and then be in the dark and trust the process? Like, oh my God, like, what do you have me doing? I don't want to do this. Like, I really
No,
don't want to do
it's
this.
part of the
But
process. You need to understand the history in the
no,
photography. At least you did. Did you use a pinhole camera? Did they teach you with a pinhole camera as well?
35 millimeters what I learned on.
Oh yeah. And did they teach you how? Because when I studied, they actually taught us how to make a pinhole camera and then use that. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Didn't have to do that, but we did. I did learn on a 35 millimeter, and it was fun. And what was interesting to me was that like that first assignment that she had me do, like that first assignment that she had us do, it was to take pictures of our home, and I was like, this is already a sensitive. Me taking pictures of my home was like already a sensitive topic for me because of my situation
Right.
that I was in with my landlord. So I was like, it's mighty convenient that she had me taking pictures of my situation, of my home, and how I was feeling. Because then it, when I went to go develop the pictures, I had made mistakes. Like the developer didn't get on it stained some of the areas of the
Okay.
film strips. So I'm like, it's mighty convenient that the first assignment is of this, and then I'm having an issue with my landlord and my apartment, but then which then manifested in the pictures itself with it messing up.
But that's okay. That's okay. It's part of the process.
Yeah.
You need to experience the emotional because that's what like the original that's how it's done. You have to experience those mistakes to get through to the next level to learn just like life, to learn what you need to do next. And there's nothing wrong with that because in the end you still came up with some pretty amazing pieces, right?
I
You
did.
can
I did get some
see.
amazing pieces because then throughout the semester it was like I was learning myself and what I was capable of doing. It
Hmm.
was like I um learned how to trust the process. It taught me, honestly, it also taught me manifesting because it felt like a manifestation because you can't see anything until it's finished. And
Correct.
it's like internal and it doesn't have that instant gratification. It's you have to trust the process. You have to do it. Like I saw multiple lessons in manifesting. Like I saw revision, like not putting the fixer remover in the thing, and then you're like in the can, and then you don't get your images. So if I made a
Did you
mistake, it's kind of like revision.
did you use Ilford or Kodak when it came down to developing on what
Kodak.
paper and then yeah,
No, I
developer.
think I use Guilford. Yeah, I use Guilford.
Ilford.
That one.
Yeah. Yes, I have done photography, so I know exactly what you're talking about. 100%. So
It
yeah.
was fun, and it learned so much. And then like it got to that point of like I realized like what like I got to print out like two pictures, like which were my favorites. Like towards the end of the semester I started shooting what I actually really wanted to shoot, which was models. And so I ended up um putting together like last minute photo shoots with models, and this was one of them.
Very cool. Now, did you make the mask as well? I should ask. Is
No,
there a mask on now?
the model actually brought. No, I actually borrowed it from the person I was staying with in Massachusetts. He was a
Gotcha.
photographer. And then
Okay.
there's this one.
Very nice. Look at the contrast. Look at you going, contrast is important with black and white, so you did a good job.
I have. I, I have this one. Hold on, guys, because now we. This is
Ooh,
not.
did you go to Japan?
No, this was actually a walking assignment that I had to do, but this is not film. This was digital.
Oh,
Um,
okay. But that's okay. The contrast in black and white is still amazing. So that's cool.
we were
Oh,
only
wow.
allowed
How
to
cool is
shoot
that?
in. We were only allowed to shoot in black and white. We couldn't shoot in color.
Yeah. Well, yeah, okay. I mean, that's obviously first year or so, which is important because look at how amazing they turned out. It's just showing you how contrast works. And I think once you understand, are you in the next level now? Are you doing color photography as well, or are you just still
I do
focusing on
both.
black?
I do
You're
both.
doing both now. Okay.
I have a newfound passion for black and white
It's fantastic.
as well as taking film. Like it's actually this
Nice.
is one of my self portraits. I get really bad migraines, so I have to go and get Botox. So I did a self portrait of me getting the migraines, getting the shots, and this was after I got it.
It's a
And
really nice expressive piece. That's very nice, though. I like the contrast once again. Good contrast. There's a little bit of blur in the background, which is important. Great. Fantastic.
this was this is a side that you don't really see.
Yeah, this is great. And have you shown anybody? Does anybody know your passion? Like, is this the first
Um,
time
this is actually the first time I'm actually showing these images.
people need to see this? I hope everybody's watching.
Yeah, this is literally the first time I'm ever showing these pictures. Have not shown these to anybody.
This is fantastic. So maybe, yeah. I mean, and have you put these on your
I
website
want
stuff?
these this one I didn't like how this one came, so this was not came out because right here it was a little dark. I didn't like how that came out. I tried to print it out again and it did not. You guys saw that? Oh, here it is. This is this is my favorite.
That's a very nice piece. I like the fact that it's very dark on the one side and there's just a little bit of light to hint to the side of her face. It's very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, I really love this one.
Do you
But that
do you
was
have
my
any?
that was
Yeah, you have a few framed. You do have a few framed that I saw at the beginning. So some of them are framed. Yeah.
yeah. These are some of my photography jobs, and then the rest of my digital work is on Instagram.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'm not great with Instagram. It's because I'm focused on the other side. I'm on
Yeah.
the side. I've been doing that way longer than even being on Insta. It's the old school, like something like I'm an old schooler. I was on there before all the other platforms were on there, so I'm still on there, this kind of thing. It's
No,
just
that makes sense. Ow.
what it is.
Yep. But that's my work. That is my photography work.
Beautiful work. I'm loving it. Very nice. And have you ever done more self-portraits? Now, the photographs that you have on some of your images on your videos, did you take those?
I did not take those.
You should
That was
learn to do that. You just use a tripod. Start using a tripod. That's the next level. Start taking your own model photography.
yeah.
There you
That's
go.
the goal. I just gotta
That's
get the
it.
equipment and stuff. I actually want to go out and get a portable light so I can take it with me.
And
A
don't forget
portable
in
strobe light.
right. And what about the umbrella? Are you thinking of getting an umbrella as well to have just in case you need like the light retracted on the other side?
I think it would be I would be using a softbox
Okay.
for the most part and just taking
Okay.
that.
Taking it around with you depending on the situation. Okay. Look at you. Very nice. Very nice. Well, see, there you go. So, all the more reason to sit down and have a conversation with another fellow artist. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Yeah. You can't
So,
say that
yeah.
to a fellow artist.
And have you tried, like me, I even experimented with, like, for my bachelor's graduate, well, my final at the bachelor's for the Corcoran. It's now GW, George Washington University. It kind of molded the two together after I left. But have you ever tried working with textiles and moving into the question of fashion, like in regards to making your own clothing? I do that. I do it all the time. People are like, why are you doing clothing too? I was like, I don't care what you say. I'm doing it anyway.
I thought
So
about it. Like
you should.
I've definitely thought about it.
I should.
I've
I have so
definitely
many
thought
ideas. I can drop all sorts of questions on you. You name it. I have lots of things you can experiment with.
it. I just it's I thought about it. It's just I'm working on learning how to do makeup
Okay.
before I work on trying to do the clothes part.
Okay.
So right now I'm trying to master the makeup because I need to learn how to do makeup because I'm so used to people doing my makeup that I don't actually do my makeup.
Interesting. Okay. Interesting. Which is perfectly fine. So I suppose you have a whole humongous box of makeup waiting for you to like explore.
Yeah, I'm working on I'm working on it. I'm definitely working on getting my makeup up up there. It's a work in progress. It's definitely a work in progress.
Okay. So it looks like we're on the same time frame. Are you in you're not in New York right now, right? You're on the other side.
No, I'm in New York.
Oh, you are in New York. Okay, yeah. I'm like the DC Maryland area, so we're like neighbors.
We are
Technically
neighbors. We definitely are neighbors.
technically speaking, yes, yes, yes.
We're technically neighbors, which is good.
It's a yes, and I find that a lot. I found a lot more creatives on social media than I have in the normal day life. That I'm like, I am just not a normal day person. I just can't. I have to. I think social media is the creative force of manifestation because there's so many things you can do with this type of um, field. I suppose it's considered a field now, right? People are now learning how to create social media as a business structure. Isn't that weird? Like I heard from one of my husband's nephews, he's like, "Oh yeah, it's like a business like thing, a course that they teach in school now." I was like, "Oh, this is so weird. This is so
It's
weird." I was like, "Okay, so that's where we're going now. We're now using social media as the business development structure format for yeah, it's like a full circle. So yeah, that's pretty cool. And when you develop your websites, are you developing it from like coding or are you actually using the apps that they have to
well, this
develop?
is when I go and I make. I see. This is why I have systems in place
Uh-huh.
and I work smarter, not harder. Because as a multi passionate person, you need to have systems. Okay, systems are key. I don't know what I would do without having a system in place. So, since I like to work smarter, not harder, I don't do coding. I don't do anything complicated. I like the easy, effortless way. So I go and I buy my templates for my websites and then I tweak them.
That's interesting, but you're still developing it from relatively yeah. So when I was younger, once upon a time.
And I'm also not afraid. I'm also one of those people who's not afraid to outsource and delegate to people
Oh,
that
that's good.
might be more might have something in a stronger suit because I'm the creative, but I'm the idea person. I like telling people what to do.
Yeah, so you're the events planning. Like I do events project
Yeah,
management
I'm
and all
like
that. Yeah.
because I'm considered my human design is manifesting generator, which means that I always have ideas. So I have an Asana board that I have to literally brain dump every other day. Otherwise, I will go crazy. All of my ideas. Like I have like ideas for becoming the best selling author. I have ideas for shirts. I have ideas for YouTube and TikTok videos.
Have you
Yeah,
started have you
I
started
have so many ideas. Asana is my best friend.
That's perfect. Have you started creating a book on Amazon yet? If that is the
No,
case. You have
not
to do
yet.
that. I've done that already. You have to
It's
that's
a
the
work
next
in
step.
progress. Like I said, it's a work in progress. But
Photography book. Photography.
that's one of my ideas.
Oh,
So it's in there. So what I'll do is I'll go and I will use like let's say I have a friend, he helps me with my graphic design sometimes. I just learned how to bulk create in Canva. So I literally
oh,
made a
Canva's
hundred
great. Yeah.
those all of those the quotes that you've been seeing, like those quote pictures that I've been
Canva's
posting.
good.
It literally took me less than 10 minutes to bulk create 100 posts. So
So
that's
Canva's
2 months worth of content that I don't have to that I already made on one day
Yeah,
in
it's
10 minutes.
fantastic. Canva is good. I remember when I was using it was so ridiculous. I was like, listen, it's like people still tell me about Word. I was like, Word is terrible. Like Canva is so much better than Word because Canva doesn't just have the capabilities of doing like layouts, but you can do videos, you can do you can do book like layouts, you can do quotes. It's all there. Canva is a mastermind of what not was before, whatever wasn't happening before. So
Yeah,
yes, agree,
and
agree.
because I'm using like these different systems and I'm creating like these different systems, it then leaves me, and then like say any admin work, any task that I don't want to sit there for hours doing,
Send it to somebody.
I send it to somebody else because it takes away from me being able to do this. It takes away from me being able to create the content. So I anything that I'm weak at that I don't want to do and it takes too long and it takes away from the money generating things I could be doing, the doing these lives. Nope, it gets sent to somebody else because I don't have the brain capacity.
So are you specifically focusing on going live? I mean, I suppose that's what we do on TikTok. I just don't. I don't do this so frequently, but I have a friend that's been doing it for 4 years now. And she is like she's in Indonesia. We actually went to high school together, and I grew up
I
in.
also do gaming content here and there live.
Sorry.
I also do gaming here and there. Like
Oh, gaming. Oh, you're a
I'll
gamer.
stream play. You'll either see me. Hey, short and spicy. You'll probably see me stream Sims like occasionally, or any like some other video game. I tend to do that. There'll be times where I might do a random gaming like a game night that's interactive because I have these Jackbot party packs. It's pretty fun. But I need about 8 people to actually commit to actually being a part of it because it's interactive.
Right, right. Another question. I don't know if we can. What do you think about what's going to happen with this platform? Do you
I
think
don't want to. No, no, no. We're
it's
not
still
even
happening?
like
Yeah,
now. It's gonna.
yeah.
We're not even going to put that out in the open. We're not speaking that into existence. Nope, not on. Nope,
Okay, so we're yeah. I okay. So the answer is
nope.
yes. Okay, I got you. I got you. Okay, so that is it is a very interesting. Let's go back to the subject of your experience talking to people who do not necessarily understand where development and growth because people haven't haven't gotten to that stage of growing a vision. You're obviously at that stage where you're doing it. So
Yeah.
how do you tell people who haven't gotten to that stage what to do? What would the first steps be in making that manifestation happen? Oh, another one. Snap. I'm asking you too many academic questions. Don't worry. If you get to your master's, these are all the things you're going to have to start thinking about. Like, what is your subject? What is your, these are subjects you need to consider. I mean, it depends on topics and research that you do. So it's all there. It's all there.
Damn.
Yeah.
Question: what would be the damn? Just doing it.
Just get up and do it. Become part of the process. Good.
Like just doing it, but also like changing. It's also about changing your mindset and being consistent with changing your mindset and persisting. Like I know, like there's
people say you can't. You still do it, right?
yeah,
Just because somebody says you can't do it doesn't mean to say that you're not going to prove them wrong. You prove them wrong and show them I just did it.
that
That's the next level.
that's the part that like everyone's like, oh well, how the heck did you manage to do this? Like, how did you get through this? And it's like, no, like it was a matter of persisting. It was a matter of continuing to keep going and striving. And even if I had a bad day, just keep going. Like to people who don't understand it, it's like, okay, well, you don't understand it, but when you tell me to not do something, it's like, or that I have to do this because you don't understand it. It's like you're telling me to shut off a part of me, and I can't just shut that part of me down.
Or you just ignore the part.
It becomes a matter of I'm not being authentic.
That's what you mean. That's what you mean. People have said that to you.
Yeah.
Or you're not being authentic to yourself if you do what other people say.
Basically.
Yeah.
Basically. And I for so long I wasn't being authentic to myself that it was like, okay, no, I have to start being authentic, even if it hurts people. I have to be authentic.
Well, and
Hey, Euphoria.
yeah. And in my case, I've learned to be happy and comfortable by myself. This is yeah. I felt that the importance is to be comfortable in your own skin. So if nobody is around, you can be the stable force of your life without worrying about what other people think. I'm at that stage right now at 45 where I just don't, it doesn't bother me. I'm just like, I just do what I have to do to make it happen, to manifest my own personal goals. I am thankful to be in the United States versus South Africa because in South Africa, there have been a lot of technology glitches lately. I mean, electricity goes off, the water doesn't work sometimes. There are lots of things that happen there that don't happen here. So the stability of technology in the United States, we should be grateful, very thankful that we're able to do things here that we cannot do overseas. So for me, I'm just thankful to be back in the States. I don't know if I can handle being in South Africa anymore. I'm like, my parents are there, my sister's there, my cousins are there, my whole family is there. So I have to be dependent of myself or on myself. I don't have a stable family to say, okay, this is where I'm going to be. It's like the reason why it's important to be multifaceted in cases where you don't have family, like myself, living in the country you're living in. You are the stable source of your own goals. If you do not do it, you have nobody else but yourself to blame. That's basically, that's basically what's happening there.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that it's a matter of just like, I don't want to say like, okay, you have to do everything by yourself. Like, yes, I get it because I tend to do that too. But it's also a matter of like knowing that family comes in many shapes and sizes.
Exactly. That's another thing. Like I found more friends. I've actually made friends on the other side, who are genuine and are interested in all the things that I do rather than just one angle. Unfortunately here, since I'm half bananaed, there are a lot of things like the music production I can't just display and present on the lives that I was doing before, or composing music while having a conversation or doing a match, because of my circumstance on here at the moment. So I'm a little stucken. And music is part of my life, you know. So my mom was an opera singer, my sister's a jazz singer. It's just part of what I experienced growing up. So that's my family. My family, let's put it this way. My types of art become my family. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
So, yeah, so I excel in music, I excel in fashion, I excel in the fine arts, I do graphic design. I've not just branched into one perspective, but I've branched into every now people start wondering, what is she? Is she fashion? Is she music? Is she doing photography? I'm like, I do it all. Don't ask me. Just accept the fact that this is who I am. And that is, I think that is the hardest thing, is that people only see one side of you, when you are doing many different types of things. That was the very subject that I discussed in my master's, trying to identify and explain to people what mixed identity is. I'm not going to go into the Tyler thing because that is another subject. Um, but I think to explain it from a perspective of the arts, like visually, was to make it a visual experience. Like, I'm not going to go into a science lab and show people how to like construct DNA. That's like, no. But I showed it in a different perspective. And and I think the fear is the unknown when people are doing something completely out of context, like I'd been doing for like my whole life. I think the fear is the uncomfort of not realizing that people are able to have not just one genre or area of skill, but multiple areas of skills, and how they all interlink together. So that's my hookies of of what life has become. And I don't have any kids. I have a fur baby. My fur baby's like, you're talking to yourself too often. You're not spending enough time with me. He's like sitting on the ground like, no, you're not spending. Yeah, so I have that time. I look at, let's put it this way. I look at my art, like I look at the fashion as my one child, and I look at the fine arts as another child. So I have three kids, and I look at the music as my third kid. Okay, and my fur baby, right? So that's like four. So I've built the facets, individually and together, and brought them together and separated them like you would as genetics and DNA and all that stuff. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey being a multi-dimensional person, only because people do judge, and I have experienced that. And they judge because they don't understand. And they don't understand because they haven't gotten to the stage of self-realization. And I think that's the most important part, is to actually connect the two together. Once that happens, then people are like, oh, okay, we got it. Or maybe they haven't left their nest, like they still live with their family. Um, they're not independent. Maybe they're not in college yet. Maybe they're going to college and they're still learning the skills. Maybe they haven't, there are all these other angles that go into the whys. Like, why would somebody say that? Like, I see it from the other perspective. It's like, maybe if I was walking in their shoes, I would understand their side. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't think I can ever picture myself being one track minded though.
It's hard, isn't it? I know I can't. Don't ask me to just do
I don't
fashion.
know
I'd
if
be
I
like,
can
are
ever
you?
picture myself just being one track minded. That doesn't feel right. Like, it does not feel right being one track minded and just focusing on one thing. It's like, oh, like I get my skin starts to itch.
Right, right.
Like,
Yeah,
just thinking
it's
about it.
hard. And being an artist in general, like being an artist in general is the form of the creativity. We cannot survive with, like, don't ask me to be a mathematician or a scientist. I will, Like I can't resolve any problems with like numbers and letters. That's put me in there and I like no. Financial sides, forget it. That's not me. That's the only thing that I'm not good at. Science, oh God, no. I mean, I see science from a different angle. I see science as a research discussion on how the planet was developed and then how it broke apart and how all these people like separated and came back together again. So I see it if you're dealing with science, I'm dealing with the larger perspective of humanity. It's yeah. I can go into that angle. But yeah, talk about like how to make I'm like, I don't know. Like that's my husband's angle. He studied bachelor's in science, so he knows that stuff. Like he gets it. Like the one side that I don't get, at least somebody in the group has to get.
Yeah, somebody has to get it.
Sorry?
I said somebody has to get it.
Somebody has to get it. There needs to be one person in the vicinity that can figure it out. Or else
That's
we're
true.
doomed.
That is very true. That
Doomsday otherwise. Yes.
that
Yeah.
is true.
He
Can't go
just
wrong with that.
Yeah, he's just messaged me. He's on his way. So when he gets here, I might probably, because I haven't cooked anything. I probably need to make something first. I'm like, what am I gonna make him? I haven't analyzed that side, which I probably should because he's been working. So yeah, that's a very, but this is a great discussion. I'm so thrilled that, you actually had that video because I have so many things to say about that subject. I can even show people through the process of how to do certain things to get to like another level of mind mind growth. So yeah, it's interesting. And like I say, if you've lived like I lived in Japan, I spoke Jap this is the whole like problem. It's like I think Japanese because I grew up in Japan as a child and went to a Japanese school and spoke Japanese in a Japanese school. So when I came to the States, I spoke Japanese and people were like, "Oh, what are you speaking?" in the 80s. And you're just like, what? It's like, how do you explain to people your experiences besides pulling out photographs and showing people this is what I lived. I lived this lifestyle. This is not. And then South Africa, going from the United States to South Africa and then trying to explain to people the lifestyle from South Africa to the States and vice versa. It's a very interesting like cultural differences are real. But I also think that understanding the cultural differences bring people together more. You know what I mean? If that makes any sense. So I think it is important. Um, yeah, like I'm all about global aspect. Like not just local, but real global. Like I think globally. My husband's Cambodian, so I'm like, yeah, like I feel more comfortable eating like Asian food, which is weird. They're like, what are you eating? I'm like, this is sushi. This is what I eat with a chopstick, and this is how I was raised. So I'm going to eat my Japanese food with my chopsticks. End of story. Don't ask me any questions. So yeah, it's been
Yeah,
it has been interesting. It has been interesting.
it's an interesting thing. I think like I was saying earlier, like I could not imagine. I feel like life would be boring if I wasn't into multiple different things. It would be very very boring for me. That's why it like because I have like all the different backgrounds and I have multiple knowledge on different things. It makes the conversation interesting. Like it makes everything interesting because you're like, oh wait, like what is she listen? Like you don't you never know what you're gonna get. Like you're anticipating. Like it's like a surprise. Like it's you don't know what I'm gonna post next. Like it could be a manifesting video. It could be a video on fashion. It can be this. It can be a gaming video. Like you don't get so I don't. My content always keeps people on their toes because I'm like you don't know like you're starting to see that there's multiple layers of me. You're starting to see me for me, like my authentic self, like me being vulnerable. It's like you're coming along with me on the journey and allowing me that space to express myself, which it comes with the expressive arts therapy. So it's my therapy. It's me expressing myself. It's me healing
Exactly.
myself, and you're seeing the journey. Like I don't
Exactly.
just I don't just come on here posting up, you know, positive stuff all the time. I have no problem coming on here saying, "Hey, I feel like giving up today. Like I need a pep talk. I'm crying." Like I have no problem with sharing the good and the bad because most people don't do that. Most people don't share the good. They only share the good. They don't like but manifesting is all about behind, like you don't see the behind the scenes movement. You see when people share success stories, they're only
Yeah.
hearing the positive. They're only hearing the amazing success story that came with manifesting. Like, oh, I manifested my specific person back. Oh, I manifested this large amount of money. You see the pretty picture at the end, but you
Right.
don't see the
The
behind the scenes.
process. The
You don't
process.
see
The process.
patience. You don't see the process. You don't see
Process.
the good, you don't see the bad, the times I had to cry. You don't see the makeup or the makeup being done, or how I had to get on the floor for a photo to, you know, get the angle to get the shot. Or you don't see the blood, sweat, and tears that went into the final image. You only see the final image. So that's why I'm very open and honest about my journey. And I'm not afraid to say, hey, I'm having a bad day. Hey, this happened, but I'm still going to keep persisting. It makes me more authentic. It makes me more vulnerable. It makes people trust me more because I'm sharing,
Oh, oh,
taking the
absolutely.
journey.
100%. And I think you're doing it in the right approach. I mean, the amount of times that my family has told me, like, my sister always says, "Oh, you're not a musician." I was like, "I don't sing, but I produce." I don't have to be a singer to be a musician, madam. Excuse me. Do you produce music? No, she doesn't produce. She sings and goes to recording studios to produce, to have other people produce her music for. So she was on The Voice in South Africa, and she has like a little bit of a name in South Africa. So everybody knows. Ask Maya to like go over and play her jazz and perform. I was like, "Where did you begin? I taught you how to compose music in the first place." But I don't get credit for it because I'm the older sister, so she doesn't listen to me. She's like, "Please." I was like, "Talk to the hand." I was like, "No, I know what I'm talking about." So it is definitely part of the process. I think yeah, this is I am very in awe with the conversation because it has been a very hard journey to try to find people who are like-minded in the process of developing and structuring not just one vision, but a multiple um, visions that create a larger picture, because the larger picture is the final goal, right? Where are you wanting to go in the future? If you want to just be a chef, then this is all you need to do, but you still need to have creativity skills. You want to make that plate look absolutely phenomenal so people go in and say, "That is the most beautiful piece of sushi I have ever seen on this plate ever." So yeah, I mean, everything falls. Yeah, yeah. So it all in all, it does matter to be diverse, not just in one level, but also on a global spectrum. Like my theory is, for people, I wish more people would understand other cultures as well, versus one side of the coin in one country, but rather different layers in different countries because of my experience. So I personally have had problems with all sorts of things. And I think that is another side that not enough people talk about, is cultures in general, like diversifying in perspective. And I do wish in the United States people would learn, like we would learn more about South African history or African history. That's why I studied the arts, because I found that now they're doing it, obviously. Now they have like the art specifics. Like I have an article at the Smithsonian of my work that I did for South Africa. So that's in the African art um, department of, the Smithsonian. But I think the diversification of not just, and art is important because the art is actually it brings everything together within the history. We learn from the visuals. We are visual. People in general are visualists. So, yeah, I just wish that schools, we didn't just learn American history. I just wish we learned more about like Asia and learned more about Africa and learned more about Europe. Well, we know a lot more about Europe than we do about Africa and Asia, right, in schools, because that is so I think that those are the two other sides that we don't learn enough about. There should be a course that teaches more about African arts. I mean, I'm sure there are now, right? This is like the thing that people are discussing. Um, Not art, African history, but specifically from not just from the United States, specifically from Africa and the different parts of Africa and the cultures within different parts of Africa, because each culture, we have different tribes in Africa. So each tribe has a different type of thing that they do, because that's what I studied. I studied tribal art. I studied cultural art. I studied art that they have in different areas and different locations of Africa, and I brought it together with the research and the acknowledgement of what I did for my master's. My mom's family is mixed, as you know, as I've said, and she comes from Khoisan descent. So we have Khoi background in our background. So I had to go back to the hunter-gatherer perspective and discuss how that implement, implication was not being discussed in South Africa because of the apartheid. It was erased. So now it's being brought back into South African culture, thank goodness, because that is something that people have left out, just like the United States has left out a lot of things about stuff, which is why I am not in a university or a college or a high school teaching, because I am not approving of how things were or things stand. I mean, I just think more needs to be done. This does seem to be like this platform, for instance, becomes that global discussion space. And I think this is probably what draws us here, is that we're learning about cultures through seeing things happen, like real life, like application, right? So for me, I'm like, yeah, I get it. I get it. I do get it. My mom and my dad on the other side are like, we don't understand. I was like, you're old fashioned. You don't get it. Of course you don't get it. You don't understand.
Never get it.
It's a new world for you. Yeah, it's a new world. It's a new perspective. So yeah, that's what I think. I think universities and high schools and junior highs should be a little bit more open to having discussions about history from all over the world. I have thought about this for so long that I'm so tired of like talking about it to schools that it's like yeah, I don't know. Because of my own experiences, like going in and people mocking me for being different because I didn't understand the culture, the cultural references. It was all different. So yeah, that's basically how it works. Right, Dio? Are you okay? He's like, will you stop talking? Oh, I'm sorry.
That's what all dogs think, I think, at some point. Hey, cultivating self love, how are you? I mean, and I think that when you are, I feel like the only kind of school that has the ability to have where you can learn about like different things is the Mon, Montessori schools.
Which I also went to one of those. Yeah. Well, yes
Yeah.
and no, but that's yeah. I the Montessori schools are good, but I also think that should be implemented in other schools as well. Like the public schools should be a little bit more cognizant of and of bringing in cultural history and cultural references and understanding culture in the arts. It's not just a one-sided thing. I absolutely agree with what everybody is saying. 100%. That's why like I said, I just don't want to teach in a university or a school. I was teaching music because it distracted me from what they were not doing. So teaching music was like that. Okay, everybody's on the same wavelength. We understand as a whole what music is about. And this is something we can look past. Uh, on a social spectrum and just learn what we have in front of us and enjoy the presence of the sound of music. Excuse the pun. but but yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, music does bring people. I was just listening to Doji. I am so shook that she is so good. I'm thinking, oh my God, she's like bringing out the rap. The real like old school stuff. Like back in the day, I used to listen to Tribe Called Quest. They were good. The Roots. Um, yeah, like the 80s and the 90s. So her stuff kind of reminds me of a lot of the things that happened in the past. She's literally bringing it all to like the forefront. I was like, you go, girl. I love what it's sounding like. It sounds so good. So good. So yeah, I mean, I think the music separates everything and it kind of brings everything together at the same time. So
As
it's
I've
just one of those things.
times.
Sorry.
I just realized that the live was shared like 52 times.
Oh, what? Well, that's a good thing. I hope people are listening. I think it's an important discussion. I hope I'm not sounding weird or quirky because I'm always known to sound weird or quirky.
If it's been shared 52 times, the fact that it's been shared 52 times, but only like 3.2 times, I
Yeah.
feel some type of way. I'm gonna need people to double tap on the screen just as much as they sharing out the live because I would like for my live to be pushed out.
Am I allowed to press it and not because I
I
was
don't
already on?
know. I honestly don't know how that works. I think somebody said that if you're like, I don't know how that works.
Yeah, I was tapping it a little bit, but I was like, I don't know if that was like the
Hey,
right approach
Jerry,
because I'm on the screen right. So I don't know if that is something I could technically do. I tested it out. We'll find out if I'm bananas. It's just like, you bananaed yourself again. Oh, dang it.
guys are new to the live, please double tap on the screen, please and thank you to help it be pushed out to more people and to be on the For You page more often than not. I would greatly appreciate it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Um, I feel like this was kind of one of my favorite lives. While we weren't talking about manifesting, same time because at the end of the day, I feel like this is all manifesting. Like everything is manifesting because you're creating. Manifesting is in literally everything that we do.
Yeah, I think so, but I think a solid conversation on what the manifestation is meant to do and the developmental stages of how and what you can do with it is the end goal. Like, manifesting is one thing, but showing and putting it into action is the next level to the manifestation. Like, do you ever go live and show people how to use like a camera? Like these are like have you gone like that's like, I mean, are you going I mean besides having and I know like it's all about conversation,
I
right? It's
have not I've actually done I haven't done that before. Like that's not something I've done before. Um yet. I mean, literally everything is manifesting. Photography is manifesting. Everything is manifesting. Like you're always manifesting. You're either manifesting good or you're manifesting bad. Like photography just so happens to be a clear-cut way of manifesting because you with film, you're not getting instant gratification. So you have to learn how to detach. You have to learn how to have patience with the digital. It's more of an instant gratification, instant manifestation. Like, but I've gotten to the point of realizing that instant gratification, that's an ego thing. Like your higher self is not worried about the time because at the end of the day, the only moment that we have is now. So if the only moment that we have is now and the past and future don't even exist, you have depression and anxiety because of your past.
Yeah, no, don't dwell on the past. I also have a very sad experience
No,
that I don't like to talk
you
about
have
it.
depression. You have depression because you're worried about your past. You have anxiety because you're worried about your future.
There you go. Exact, precisely.
If you let that go and you let go of your ego, then you can stay in the present moment to help you manifest what you want, and you're more relaxed.
Right.
So when the more that relaxed that you are, the more that you're gonna get your manifestations. So I know that when I'm way too stressed out or I'm trying to constantly do and I'm not in a flow state and I'm not creating content, I'm one of those people that has to do what I love. Otherwise, I feel restricted and my energy starts to get really, really, really wonky. And I don't want to do anything. I don't like, I get like, it's weird. So, but because I know this and because I also know how to, I'm very, I've gone to sleep taking naps and I wake up with manifestations. Hi, Blessy. Like I woke up with a thought. I woke up to a phone call. Somebody paid for this self development course. Literally took a nap, woke up with a phone call saying, "Hey, somebody paid $1,000 for you to do the self development workshop." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I literally have gone to sleep and woken up with manifestations.
No, that's fantastic. I mean, I think you're doing your approach is correct. So that's you're doing a great job, obviously. I mean, how long?
Okay, there's some days where it's just not easy.
No, it's well, life in general is not easy. You've gone through your own experiences, and I've also gone through some horrible times. So that's another thing. Art is like this is always what art is therapy. It apps, and I say that all the time to people. Use your art to help yourself recover from whatever it is that you're going through because it's going to help you in the end. In fact, the jacket that I made that happened to get into the Smithsonian article at the in the South African or the African art department of that the library was a jacket that I made after the situation that happened. I still have it. I was supposed to sell it, but I was like, I'm not selling my original piece. Sorry, I'm keeping it. It's history. So those hard moments and focusing on the manifestation of that moment can manifest into something absolutely incredible. Like, who would have thought I had an article at the Smithsonian for a subject and an exhibition that I had done in South Africa about textiles and creating work out of nothing, like literally nothing. I had nothing to start with. The only thing that I had was a pair of knitting needles and some fabric. And those two things manifested this absolutely incredible piece that landed an exhibition and a couple of other exhibitions that built into a larger picture. So yes, it can start from a ball of yarn, basically. If that makes sense.
Anything. It could start with a thought.
It'd start with a thought, a recycled piece of paper, a can, a bottle top, you name it. Like in South Africa, the Khoisan created, like in different parts of Africa, you create things out of whatever you find. And that is the other subject that I went into is that you can create stuff. You're building a lifestyle. What is it? Art as a lifestyle. Not just art for art's sake, but art as a lifestyle. So you're creating your art to create your world. And that is basically the whole growth and understanding of how that can form into something larger. So yes, manifestation, and then from that little word that you write down becomes something larger. Maybe you want to paint the word, and the word becomes a larger piece, and you have a whole sheet of paper with all these words, and all of a sudden you have a room full of canvases that you've painted each one of those words, whether it's thin or large, and eventually becomes an exhibition. So you never know. You land up in the New York Times. You know what I mean? This is how it starts. It really does start with the smallest, even a grain of sand. Like that's a nice color grain of sand. I wonder, I should frame that. What will I do with that grain of sand? Then the grain of sand becomes more, and you add more stones to it. And before you know it, it's like a masterpiece. So yes, technically speaking, that is exactly how it's done. So there you go.
That's exactly how that's literally how it's done. That's
The
literally
world,
how manifesting works.
life of manifestation is just to start somewhere. Start somewhere, anywhere. So that's it for now. I think my husband is going to be so like, where's my food? He's been working very hard. He works for uh, people in DC, like, yeah, new stuff. So I'm like, The news stuff is not my forte. I don't like that kind of stuff. So I like I like the news that I hear on here rather than the news that I hear on the other side. I'm like anti-news person. But it was such a pleasure speaking and talking to a like-minded person for once that I mean, I know there are other people that are, but I think you really do understand the I mean, I'm in awe. You have some photographs that you actually developed with film. I'm just like, "Whoa." Now that's history right there.
Yep. Yeah. I'm multi. I really am multi passionate.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, anytime you're around, and if this is a good time to have like a discussion, I'm always here. I'm doing something. Well, I mean, I don't even go out anymore. I used to go out and have lots of fun back in the day in DC when I was in college, but I'm older, so we're at home. This is what I do. I am here. So yeah, if you are interested to ever, reconnect and chat on subjects or even like have a discussion, a critique. Has anybody like I do I like critiques. I like to show the process. Like people want to see what art is about. This is a good platform. You should do critiques with people. Like how have you done that yet?
No, I'm not.
You have that's the next phase of your process. There you go.
Not done.
Critiquing. Where are people in their process? Voila.
Hmm.
You can get people on here clearly, so why not? This is a good platform because I don't actually think there is anybody that's doing. Can you show me your artwork and let's have a discussion on the art? Like let's
I
that's
don't think anybody's actually really doing that.
and that's what we do in art university. We have critiques. That is this. This is like you put it up on the wall and all of a sudden you have everybody in one section and another section. Hold on a second, give me 2 seconds. My fur baby. Hold
Guys,
on.
I think that I think we're gonna do a game night. I think that's what we're gonna do. I think I'm gonna get off, and once she comes back, I think we're gonna get off, and I'm gonna start it back up on my computer, and we're gonna have a game night. I think that'd be fun. Here's the thing: besides, it wants to load. Hey, Shaka. Yeah, I think we're gonna do an interactive game night tonight. We're gonna play Jackbox Party Pack. We're gonna play Jackbox Party Pack. How about that for your apples? Y'all better be ready for this.
Sorry about that. My fur baby was like in need of assistance, so I was having to join him for assistance processing. Okay, it was such a pleasure talking to you. I'm sure other people would love to join you on your screen to have a conversation. But this is a starting point to a growth and development. And now you know I am indeed an artist.
This is okay. It was nice talking with you.
Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much for having me on your screen. I absolutely appreciate this and every moment of it. Wonderful having a discussion on develop and process. Very cool. And now you've done something that you haven't done, speaking about what you do. So there you
Yeah,
go.
thank you. I appreciate this conversation and I appreciate you. And I'll be uploading the replay on YouTube.
Oh, fabulous. Thank you so much.
Very
Honored. Oh, and I am actually I've started, but I don't have like a big following. I saw your YouTube. I was like, ooh, she has like everybody on
I
there.
hope you subscribed.
I will. And then I have my one that's music production. Oh, I was experimenting with AI and having a discussion on music yesterday for I can't post it on here because I'm bananaed still. So I usually would post the videos that I do on the live there here. But yeah, no, we're keeping it on the low key at the moment. But the discussion was very interesting. So yeah, it was a fascinating, like, how do you communicate with AI through music besides having them create the music? It was very interesting. I'm learning from that experience too. So yeah, great. I will subscribe to you.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. Night.